Welcome to the panel where founders talk about building a better business and a better life. I'm Justin Jackson, co-founder of Transistor.fm.
And I'm Brian Castle, creator of Builder Methods.
And on the call today, very special guest, long-time listener, often in the live chat. I've appeared on his podcast. He's building stuff in Atlanta, Georgia. Ryan Hefner. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, awesome.
Happy to be here. Obviously, a longtime listener, and I think actually during the panel live streams, there is a certain want to just kind of dive in and get into that conversation because all the stuff that you guys are diving into is like the things that are racing through my head constantly. So it's fun to be on here and just kind of riff with y'all.
It's great to have you on, Ryan. Great to catch up with you. It's awesome that you're always in the live chat. And for those who don't know, I don't know if you're still doing it, but you've had one of the long running like build in public podcasts going on and just kind of talking about your real projects over the years.
I kind of fell off on it a little bit. I'd say around last August, for whatever reason. I think with the client work that I was doing, and then just kind of like, truthfully, kind of almost like burning out a little bit to a certain degree, like trying to get side stuff going and then balancing the client stuff and like dealing with that kind of stuff. It all kind of got a bit much. So it was like hard to find like good topics to talk about. But actually right now, I think with AI, and I'm also part of the whole winter break AI converted. But basically I feel like
so
now
you were a bit slower than most last year to come around on it.
I'd say I wouldn't have fully adopted it. I had Copilot in my IDEs, like whether that was, VS Code or Cursor. I had dabbled with mostly just kind of like using it as conversation, but not having it do full coding projects at the time, maybe throwing it like a bug here and there. But over the Christmas break, I have a backload of projects that I want to do and domains and all this other stuff. And so I just started spinning up GitHub repos. And while I was playing with my kids, I would just start throwing ideas at it. And then I would just let it rip. And this was the first time where I felt like I was actually getting meaningful output from the models that was legitimately like reducing a lot of like the boilerplate cruft stuff that you have to do when you're spinning up new projects. And also fleshing out, whether it's article templates or landing pages or whatever, but just giving you at least something to kind of like hop off on as opposed to just try and come up with like the blank canvas issue.
Totally.
And then I was just hooked. And so now, like Claude Max turned up, and I get I'm like at 90% use by like Tuesday, and my subscription re-ups on Thursday or whatever. So then I got to throttle it to get me through the rest of the week. But
yeah, I've been hitting that.
And then now I actually been introducing
this week.
Oh, sorry, yeah. But Codex too. I think Codex is an amazing. Actually, I started using them when I was actually running out of credits on Claude, and actually I think for certain languages and certain apps, it actually performs way better. But we can get on all that. Yeah. So yeah, that's me. Sorry, I didn't want to get too far into it already.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so today is supposedly my week to host. So I guess I should take the hosting duties today. So yeah, like today I did prepare a little topic that I think is a little bit of a change of pace. We'll see. And the idea is how we think about our daily drivers across all things, tools, services, just like general things that we choose to use as our daily driver. And I think we have a long list here of things that happens in our work lives and are in our like personal lives, tools, products, services, and things. And like, I think what's interesting about this question is like, why have we chose to stuck? Why have things really stuck for us long term, even if there are like popular alternatives that didn't stick? it's just kind of fun to talk about those preferences. But what's more interesting is like this idea of product market fit.
Yeah.
So let's we'll get into that stuff, but real quick, why don't we just get like a quick update? I mean, Justin, what's been happening with you,
dude?
past week?
So much is happening. I've actually been having these weeks where feel like I'm addicted to drugs, and AI has definitely contributed to this. But it's
Feel
just
like?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I felt like I was addicted to drugs, and then Thursday, I had kind of like the come off. Like I was just nothing much was happening, and I was kind of like, come on, I need more of that same energy. So TBPN, which is one of the big tech podcasts.
Oh yeah, yep.
And they were just in the news. They were just acquired by OpenAI. So here's a podcast that doesn't have a ton of viewers and listeners. They say 70,000 per episode or something.
I don't listen to them a lot, but I've known that they're pretty big, right?
It's big, but not really big. But they were acquired for hundreds of millions of dollars by OpenAI. So let's say 200 million. They were on track to make $30 million in revenue this year. So we did a project for them because they interviewed Eddie Q for the 50th anniversary, and they wanted it on Apple HLS video. We still have to do that manually, so we had to coordinate all this. And so we had this big day, Wednesday. That was April Fool's, right? Yeah, April Fool's Day. We did this big Eddie Q video launch, which you can watch on Apple Podcasts in video. Go check it out, TBPN. And then the very next day, they announced this acquisition by OpenAI. And I was just like, what is going on? It's probably like Joe Rogan, Spotify acquired it for like 200 million or 250 million. But this could be bigger. And Joe Rogan is a much bigger show. So it just goes to show like this show has the right kind of reach.
It's such an interesting acquisition. Like why? Like I understand why Spotify would acquire a Joe Rogan or Ringer or like whatever else, because they're trying to move into podcasting. Like is OpenAI trying to move into podcasting?
Dude, this is why I'm bullish.
I never really know what, like that's the thing with OpenAI. I never really understand their strategy on anything.
Oh yeah, I mean, who knows if it'll work out, but this is why I'm bullish on podcasting is if you look at all of the CEOs and executives, they're all going on podcasts. Podcasts have become this channel. And I think it's because it's one of the few remaining genuine, authentic human channels that real humans are responding to.
100%. I get all that. And I also see why even other companies acquire media brands, because it's like, okay, if we can't be the YouTube channel ourselves, like let's just acquire one to get that like marketing juice, right? Or the exposure juice. But that's for most companies and smaller, medium-sized companies. OpenAI is their ChatGPT. It's like they don't need exposure.
They're known. They're the commercial default, right? I mean, if anything, it's probably to control the narrative around AI to a certain degree. If you have the show that everyone's listening to and you can kind of position the narrative around that to align with your whatever other like initiatives you have behind the scenes and stuff, I mean, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah,
that's the value.
Sense. Of course, like, they're supposed to be like independent and this isn't going to change anything, but of course now it would have to, you would think it would have some sort of point of view. So anyway, that's a whole other side interesting conversation we can have.
Yeah.
But that is super exciting, and also that TPBN has been hosted on Transistor, and you guys have been part of that.
Yeah. It was an exciting week, and of course we're building stuff this whole time, and it's just feels like lots is happening.
Yeah. I did want to kind of talk about like my only update for this week before we get into the topic is, I've been thinking really hard lately about my content strategy going forward. Obviously, Builder Methods essentially is a content company, and it's just a constant. It's like a constant like evolution for me as a founder to really embrace this thing. Like what I'm building here is a content media company essentially. I'm building a lot of stuff and I'm teaching and I'm growing a community. That's sort of the product behind it. But on the front end, it's a YouTube channel. And so I did make the decision that I'm going to really try to invest in this and try to like double down on the content production. I have been working with a part-time editor to help me churn stuff out, but I am going to be looking for, so I kind of posted a job opening. This is like the first like real like official job opening to work with me in Builder Methods for like, I think someone to cover some video editing stuff, but really I'm looking for somebody who's a little bit more like a producer, a creative collaborator. So really strong video chops, motion graphics, like, you know, videography. Like you should be really strong with video editing. Like that'll be part of it, but more is like, I have some very specific, like new, slightly different direction ideas for content on the YouTube channel going forward. And I think it's going to require a heavier lift when it comes to editing and production and storytelling and taking a lot of like raw footage and crafting a narrative and like documentary type stuff. I just really want to kind of take it all to the next level. I want to try to differentiate even more from the rest of the pack in the YouTubes in this build with AI space. And I have some ideas around that. I have some kind of bigger directional stuff for Builder Methods in general that I haven't talked at all publicly about, that I'm really, really excited about. But it's going to take a long time to build into that. And I think this is the first like kind of big step. So anyway, I'm looking for somebody who, if you happen to know anyone who is interested, there's a new jobs page on Builder Methods.
I just saw that.
I built that into the app, yeah, video editor, producer, creator, collaborator type person is what I'm looking for. So.
Yeah, I think this is key, man. I think this is like, this is really. Oh man, I was having a big conversation with my teenage son who's all stressed out about AI and how is this going to affect his jobs and everything. And I'm like, but dude, every day I go to work and I need help from humans to do stuff. Yeah. And it's hard to communicate to folks that there's going to be opportunities like this. And it's also hard to communicate like what that would look like. Like, I don't want somebody that's just going to just take video from me and edit it in your case. Like I want someone who's going to show up and be like, help me craft this, help me make it into something incredible.
Yeah. I mean,
bring the ideas, bring the creativity, like help me, like challenge me and also elevate the entire thing. You know, I mean, AI helps automate and, you know, like rapidly get to a conclusion, but it doesn't actually write the narrative. You know, you still have to basically kind of guide it and direct it and figure it out.
100%.
Yeah.
I wrote this in my newsletter last week that like how I think about scaling businesses now in 2026 is a little bit different from how I've done it in the past. In the past, it was always just like build a thing, build a process, hire someone to carry out that process. But now it's more like, okay, if something is highly process oriented, I'm definitely going to try to automate it with an AI agent first, because most things that are like purely process oriented can be agent automated. That in itself takes a lot of work, but it can actually be done. And I am doing a lot of content development stuff and process oriented stuff with like Claude agents and stuff. But where I do think when it comes to scaling and hiring, I'm going to look to hire a person, a human, when it's like an owner type situation, like where it's a role where I just really want an owner to be in it. That, you know, that most of the time is not going to actually mean like equity ownership in the business or anything, but I mean like own your role. Like Justin, I've heard you talk about this a little bit, like where the value of someone like this in the business is more like them just bringing unexpected ideas to the table, and using their own creativity and their own taste to take things in a direction that might surprise you, might not have been part of your vision for a process, but like helps further the ultimate goal of like let's just make this whole thing better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call in my I don't know where this is coming from.
Uh-oh. It's always the sauna. Why does the sauna keep calling you?
What is going on here?
Especially Friday, a nice Friday sauna sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, look, we got the spot. It just opened up. Let's call Justin.
It just stopped. Yeah. It just stopped ringing. Oh, okay. Oh, geez. Why? That's weird. That was our Google Voice thing. Okay, I think I've got it turned off now.
All right. So,
we should get Ryan's update.
Yes, Ryan. What are you working on this week?
So, part of the AI wave of winter, the last 3 months I've been so focused on actually just building like way too many projects and projects and products and everything. And so actually next week, the kids are on spring break and they're going off to Savannah with their grandmother. And I'm actually using that week to kind of just consolidate and actually start figuring out like the launch timeline. And so, Justin, actually, I've been meaning to reach out to you, especially regarding like marketing for developers. One of the sites/tools that I'm working on is called Launch Weeks. Okay, and cool. It's basically like a launch planning tool. And so I'm using it as I'm dog fooding all my stuff through it. I'm basically planning out launch sequences, warming, social warming kind of scheduling and stuff like that and tracking.
Oh, sweet.
That kind of stuff. But
do you have a domain for that yet?
So now it's like, what's that? Oh, it's I'm going to be putting it up later or like next week basically, but it's going to be at launchweeks.com.
Launchweeks.com.
Whoa, that's a great domain.
Yeah, that's really great. Dude, that seriously, the thing I've been talking about the most in terms of marketing for developers is people underrate the time that happens before you launch. It is the most potent time for marketing when you're building up anticipation for something. This is why...
And it's the hardest time to market too.
Some people say it's hard, but it drives my team a little bit crazy. But like right now, we don't have video podcasting, right? It's not built. We're building it. But I am actively going on podcasts, talking about how it's coming, how we're going to have it. I'm talking about it in a lot of cases like we have it already.
Yes.
We're going to update the homepage to say video podcasting coming soon. People click on it. They can sign up for the waiting list. The whole idea is to build anticipation. It's just like anything, like when your favorite movie is coming out and you're just waiting and you're seeing the trailers and the teasers and you're just waiting for it to come. That's the most potent time. Or a band is coming to town or they're coming out with a new album and you're like reading, I mean, you don't do this anymore, but you read Rolling Stone to see what they're talking about it. Like you just, and
you see their posters start showing up in town or whatever. And
that's right.
Just build the excitement. Yeah.
So I think that'll be that's a big idea. Launch to help people with a launch plan is, I think there could be something there for sure.
Yeah, like the way that I've always thought about launching, like the pre-launch stuff, is to treat it like a big, mostly like the marketing site. That's a whole project in itself. Mm-hmm. So I just try to use that as my pre-launch marketing, meaning like I don't do like a coming soon page, right? I don't like that. Maybe I did that a long time ago, but now it's like if I have a new product that I'm working on building, even just from the start of it, when it's just an idea, one of the first things I end up doing is like designing a whole marketing site for it, as if it's a real thing in the market. For a few reasons. Number one is I don't want people to evaluate this as something that's coming soon. I want them to evaluate it as something that exists today and give me a real feedback. Like, are you ready to buy this today? Even though it doesn't exist, I want to see if you might try to attempt to buy it today. Yeah. But that's number one. But the other thing is, that is a whole project. So I don't, like, everyone like builds and launches, and then they're like, all right after launch, we're going to get on that marketing site and we're going to work. But that is like the last thing that you want to do the day after you launch a product. Like I don't want to embark on a whole website design project at that point. Like I have 1,000 other things that I need to be doing with the very first customers. So the idea of having the marketing site already done on day one is huge,
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, Ryan.
And you've been good about using the marketing side as also basically like client, like recon, where you'll have stuff behind an email and then you'll present a form to get more information before there actually is like a full sign up.
Yeah.
And so, I think
get the email first, and then goes to a page which goes to a survey about like, why are you interested in this? And then that I use to probably invite them to a call or learn something or analyze those as I go through the building, you know?
Yeah. And I think now is more than ever. And to your point, Justin, like for marketing for developers, the launch is what's going to really distinguish you from like just anyone throwing up a random app and trying to get people onto it versus building the anticipation, kind of building that momentum around it. And to your point, the launch week, I think it actually is going to be like these launch full weeks where you're kind of doing it to where it's like, you know, Tuesdays, the product hunt launch, maybe Wednesday or Thursdays, the hacker news thing. You also then have some blog posts, maybe a live stream that you're introducing to this, like during that week to kind of keep that momentum going. And there's a 2 or 3 week lead up period to that where you're warming everything. And then there's also a 1 or 2 week trail off after that.
Yes.
So it's not really like a launch week. It's like a launch month.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so key. And the other thing is you're building trust. So in the age of AI, where there are autonomous apps being built by Pulsia, what you want to do to stand out is say, you can trust us. And how do we know to trust you? Well, in the pre-launch, you're building up trust. You're saying, here's my reputation. We're real human beings behind this. I just reviewed Freak's new app. Freak is big in the Laravel community. There.app. And they just did a few things with like putting the avatars of the human beings on the right side, and then down at the bottom having a nice human testimonial, and then just here's a photo of the team sitting around a desk in a real office and saying, hey, we're the team behind these products. We've been doing this forever. I think building trust in your lead up is going to be so key. And a lot of people aren't doing it. A lot of people are launching these anonymous apps, like where you can't see the humans. I'm like, dude, you got to show the team, because I don't want to give my credit card to some fly by night vibe coded app that a 13-year-old could be running on I think there's lots in the launch there.
I also like used to always like launch these marketing sites without my name or face on it. And part of it was like, I want to see if this product is going to do well without me talking about it. Not that I have such a huge audience or anything, but I did learn that it is really helpful. So like I have started putting like a little like letter from the founder type of thing. Like there's one on Clarity Flow, there's one on Builder Methods. I do that on basically everything now. Because there are quite a few people who, like, especially on Clarity Flow, nobody knows me or follows this podcast or anything anymore. So yeah, it's just really helpful to have a face on there.
Plus now, Brian, you're a celebrity, so you got to put your face on there.
I don't know about that,
dude. You're like one of the few people in my little town that I'm like, oh yeah, I talk about AI with my buddy. He's like into it on YouTube, and they're like, wait, Brian Castle? I'm like, you know who Brian Castle is? They're like,
it's so funny with YouTube. It's so weird. Like, I hope that people in our industry come across my videos, which is nice to hear about. And I also hope that other people in my life like never see my videos. Like, I don't want like friends and family in the real world who are not in tech. I just don't want them stumbling into my videos. It's just such a weird. Like I was on a snowboarding trip with 2 longtime buddies 2 weeks ago, and like they're not in tech, and like they had no idea that I've been doing this YouTube. I've been talking about it because just sharing like my business updates with them a little bit. But like the idea that I'm a quote unquote influencer on YouTube is like so foreign to most people. You know, it's foreign to me. Like it doesn't really feel like that. But anyway. All right, let's talk about daily drivers. This is a term that's actually been on my mind lately. Specifically, I've been in the market for a new pair of shoes, like everyday walking around shoes. They actually just came. I haven't opened them yet. So I'm kind of looking around, and I'm actually like not tied to any like particular brand of sneakers. Like I don't just buy the same ones every year for decades. Like I just sort of jump around for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also in the market right now for a new daily driver tool for building with AI, like a coding tool.
Okay.
I've been on Cursor for years now, and like sort of VS Code based for several years. Cursor 3 looks kind of interesting, but I'm so tracked into Claude Code at this point that like I'm basically just using Claude Code in the terminal in Cursor, and it just feels like it's not like that tool is not purpose built for that sort of thing. So we'll get into it. I've been testing out like 4 or 5 different tools to see like which candidates could become my new daily driver, because that is the app in my work life. Like that type of app is the thing that I literally spend the most hours in every day. So that's the daily driver. So when I'm talking about daily drivers here, and I want to kick it around to you guys, we're talking about not products or tools that you tried once or twice and you kind of liked it. I'm talking about the things that have stuck around for you for years, like the things that have just embedded themselves in your everyday routine of life or work. There's obviously a bunch of categories where like you always need something. You always need like an email client. You always need a bank provider. You always need a this or that. Like everyone has like settled on a thing. And like also as we get into the more like personal life stuff, like where do we get our news? Like like how do you read news every day, or what type of vacations do you go on, and like what brands or services do you use when you do vacations, or whatever, TV or like. So let's start to kick it around. Maybe we could like jump back and forth between work and life. I have this Google Doc with a bunch of bullet points of like categories. I don't know, where do you guys want to start on this? Like what do you think?
Talking about shoes are a big deal for me. I walk to my office every day.
Okay.
I wear out soles of my shoes regularly. And
what are on your feet these days right now?
Well, right now I'm wearing Ultras. But I actually wear these probably, I don't know, 30% of the time. And I just bought a pair of Red Wing boots that I wear most of the time. So, if Red Wing boots are like, this is an American classic, been made in Detroit. I'm sure you've seen these before, but I've got something similar to I've got something similar to the Iron Ranger or the Classic Mock. But it was really fun. And these are like $280. Like they're a bit pricier. Oh, this is the one I have. This one right here.
That's nice.
The Heritage. So yeah, $300. I decided to treat myself. I've always wanted a pair. And there is just something about buying into a big story, like buying into something that has a reputation. And the first day I wore them out, people were like, "Oh, those are Red Wings. Those are sweet," So there's like this social proof.
Yeah.
And also something that maybe I could like resole. And like we actually do have what do you call somebody who works on shoes? We have one of those guys here in town. So
yeah, I forgot.
Cobbler.
Cobbler.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Cobbler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shoes are actually one of those things that are huge for me. Like, cause I buy them all the time. I almost always buy a new pair of shoes before, like a month before I go on a big trip or a big conference. Like I like to have a new pair of shoes, but I like them to be worked in a little bit.
Yeah,
so, break them in.
And that always makes me a little nervous if they're going to come like a couple days before a trip. I can't commit to a pair of shoes and be uncomfortable on a trip.
No, you can't do that. Yeah, you got to work them in.
Yeah. What are you kicking over there, Ryan? What kind of kicks?
It kind of varies depending. I don't, when I'm around the house, I actually just like wear some Birkenstocks, kind of,
I'm all about the
closed toe ones and kind of shuffle around.
Oh, the closed toe. Okay.
Yeah, I do closed toe. No one needs to see my feet.
I'm like the hippie listening to Fish with the old Birkenstock sandals all summer long. They're just
Right.
I don't even really like how they look. They're just so damn comfortable that they're just awesome.
Yeah,
I just
easy
ordered-
to
What's the point
slide
of being in
into.
your 40s if you can't be comfortable?
Well, speaking of like getting old, the pair of shoes that I just ordered that are sitting on the table over there, I haven't opened them yet. New company for me, Zero Shoes. Do you guys know them?
Yeah.
So Zero, like XERO shoes.com. And
Yeah.
my friend Brian Marble recommended them to me. I hadn't heard of them before. Right there, you could there's a little marketing there, like social proof. Someone mentioned it. I wouldn't have even known of this brand unless somebody I personally knew told me about them.
Yeah.
But for me, like for the past year, my everyday has been like these Adidas slip-in, like slip-on shoes. Like this is like the old guy thing. Like I just don't want to like bend down all the time when I'm just like throwing them on and want to go like walk or do an errand or something. So these Zero shoes are like thinner, kind of cool, all slip-on. I don't know. We're gonna see how they work. We'll see where we go. But
I think shoes is a great example of often we buy, so these Ultras that I bought, which are also a zero drop shoe. My friend Andy bought them first. We are so influenced by our friends with products.
Yeah.
So even in this age of like search engine optimization and LLM optimization and all this other stuff, definitely influencers who buy products and share them can influence us. But our friends are still, I think, the number one, like people in our circle that are like, oh yeah, I bought these. You got to get these. These are the best. It almost makes it okay to get them. It's like, is it okay for me to buy this stuff?
Where should we go next in terms of like tools or categories? Let's do a work one. Should we get into like coding tools? All right. So I'll throw it to you guys first. So the question is, Justin, I know you are building stuff, but maybe not quite as much as like John or the rest of your team is doing it every day. But like, this is probably a multi-part question. So there's like the main like IDE, but then there's also like the choice between Claude Code or Codex or Gemini.
Yeah.
Which one or ones of these for you personally, and maybe what you're also seeing on the Transistor team are like the go-tos, like where you're spending most of your hours doing that kind of stuff?
I actually don't even know what everyone else uses. I use iTerm for my terminal and then Claude Code in there. I've used iTerm forever, I think. I use Visual Studio Code when I do open things up. Every once in a while, I go into Cursor, but not that often. That's basically my setup.
About those. So would you say whenever you are going to build something with Claude Code, you're using iTerm and you're not using VS Code with a terminal?
That's right. iTerm, yeah. Yeah, it's just a preference. It's like I can't... Having the terminal inside of Visual Studio Code, I just never got used to it. And so I just like having my iTerm set up and all on one monitor too.
And do you like rarely or never touch the actual code files, folders like you?
Yeah. So, these days it's not as common, but every once in a while I'll like still open up a page. Especially like if I'm working out, like even like if I'm doing some like, I want to do some custom HTML in an email newsletter and I just know it works. I just want to build that myself. I'll use Visual Studio Code for that.
Got it. Cool. Do you know like what the rest of the team is using? Like, or at least like, is it Claude Code or is it Codex?
Definitely Claude Code is almost all of us are on Claude. And then I don't know I think John uses iTerm as well. And I can't remember what they use for their IDE. I think Visual Studio Code, but I actually don't know. I should ask.
Cool. Ryan, what are you doing over there?
Cursor for my code, but I've been just using the cursor models, depending on what stuff I'm doing. I actually do the majority of my coding through the Claude mobile apps, actually. So I'll spin up sessions, like cloud sessions, and I do it all through either the phone or the iPad. I like that because it basically means that I can sit there and like be working on something no matter where I'm at. I'm not bound to my computer, and there's no like Git pushes or anything that get lost on my
I use the
local.
mobile. I run tasks with Claude Code on mobile too, but only during my off hours. Like if it's like at night or if I'm traveling or something. But like, are you saying that you use
I
it,
do
like,
it all
as part of your workday?
for everything. Yeah, the entire
interesting.
day. Like, so I have my like an iPad Pro sitting next to me, and I just tether over to it, and then I'll fire off
And
code
that's
like
easier
commands in
than-
there.
That's easier than just running Claude Code on your computer that you're sitting at?
I don't know if it's easier, but it's one consistent workflow, regardless of where you're at. And I guess I'm like
Yeah, like
a real
you
sucker
can like
for
get up and go
consistency.
with it.
I can get up and go anywhere. I can, I'm like driving the kids to school, and I'm text prompting stuff into like create this plan, and then I'm taking that plan and throwing it over into wherever.
Not dangerous at all.
I can just be on the go. And
one of my favorite new features in Claude is this remote control feature, which I use a lot now.
yeah,
So you could start a session locally on your desktop computer, enable remote control, and like literally pick up the same session on mobile. And then you're still communicating into your desktop computer remotely, which is pretty cool.
yeah. So I wrote an app to let me do some of that stuff. So it's called like Term Visor, and it creates a local daemon that I can remote into and launch tmux windows in. So I'm not even bound to necessarily Claude Code. I could be using Codex or Claude or whatever. But there's a lot of times where, depending on the project that I'm working on, if I need, for whatever reason, in the cloud environment, sometimes the dependency loading or regenerating a migration or something like that, it just has issues with it. So to be able to then remote into a terminal and be able to run some commands, regardless of whether it's actually within like a Claude Code instance or not, is super helpful. So yeah, that I've been building a lot of tools around Claude to help me work more on the go and be less tethered to a computer. And like, for instance, last night before I went to bed, I basically started I had to kick off like a new project with like a 20 individual like spec like markdown files that it like generated, that I pushed over into a repo and kind of like scaffolded it up, but then it just like chunked on it all night. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yesterday I was,
but all through the mobile app.
The mobile app is incredible. I had trouble sleeping. I woke up super early, like an hour earlier than I usually do. I just sat in bed, picked up the phone, and fired off. Like, I basically spec'd, built, and shipped 4 pretty significant new features in an app that I'm working on, all before I left the bed. Like no joke. It's just unbelievable right now.
So sorry, I missed it. Is this a /remote session that you guys are talking about, or just using the Claude app? Like,
I use it a couple different ways. Like what I just described, where I initiated a new task from mobile. I'm using Claude Code on the Claude mobile app, which starts a new cloud session.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's like typically if I want to like start up something new when I'm already on mobile. But then there's this like remote control option where it's like, if I had started it at the desktop, but I want to continue working on it, I can just kind of pick it up and go. And then I actually just did a whole YouTube video about like mobile options with Claude Code. There's a few more, like what you were just describing, Ryan, with like, there are tools. I guess you spun up a custom one. There's tools. There's one called like Termius, which you can like.
Termius is the big
like
one.
Remote into your.
It's mostly
into your,
SSH.
Yeah, but that's like if you anyway, like we're getting really in the weeds here, but if you need to like get in and access something on your desktop when you're on mobile.
In the chat, Nathan Gathright is wondering if you guys have used T3 code yet.
I don't know what that one.
Okay, T3.codes is what he's talking about. This actually.
So in terms of like
that's
the
that
daily
Theo
driver
thing, right? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that is, but it actually looks similar to some of the tools that I've been trying for this like for my for like a replacement for Cursor for me. So I've been on Cursor for years, and before that VS Code, and I still like to have, even though I almost never write code myself, I still like to have the file tree and the files here with me in the same application where I'm working in Claude Code. I like the merging of having my terminal with Claude Code and probably multiple agents in different tabs, and being able to like run servers and stuff, and being able to see my files and edit them all in one application. I don't like to have to like jump between an IDE and a separate terminal. So that's why I've always loved like the VS Code Cursor thing. But like more and more, I'm just, and I for a while I was using Cursor's AI chat as well to use other models when I want to like switch off of Claude Code for a little bit. But I've just been doing that less and less and relying more and more on Claude Code for almost everything. Which I don't know if that's good or bad. I might jump back and forth again in the future. But what I'm landing on now. So yesterday I spent the day using Conductor. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It's been around for like a year or two. Really, really nice app. It is especially known for being really good at running multiple agents, each on a different work tree.
Conductor.build,
right?
Yeah, conductor.build. So it's very work tree based, and you can basically run multiple agents, on multiple projects or within the same project using work trees. You can do that normally just using Git or whatever, but like it just gives you a really nice interface for doing that, and just overall just a really tasteful UI for building agentically. Really nice workflow for issuing like PRs and a bunch of other stuff kind of baked in there that I really like. There's a couple things that I don't love about it. Like it's not it wraps Claude Code in its own chat interface. It's not the actual. So they're using like the Claude Code SDK. So they're not. It's not the actual Claude Code CLI interface.
Yeah. So the harnessing and everything that Claude Code brings is lost, basically.
Yeah. Under the hood, it's still Claude Code, I guess, but it's so that's not great. It's nice what they've built, but it's missing Claude Code features. So the other one, so that was what I tried yesterday, and then today for the day, I've been using this other new one called Superset.
Okay.
I think it's called Superset.sh, which is a very, very similar concept. And if you look at it, I'm almost certain that they're basically modeling it after Conductor, but they sort of fixed two missing features for me in Conductor. And one is that you could just use pure Claude Code and pure terminals instead of like this wrapped interface like I was just talking about. The other is, in addition to work trees, you can have just your main tree, your main branch, without it being a work tree. Whereas Conductor, it's like you're in work trees all the time, which can
you're
be kind of
forced to
annoying
work
sometimes.
within a work tree.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So other than that, they're almost identical. A few differences here and there, but like I'm actually really liking Superset today, and this one might be the one that I stick with. But I don't know. I just like them both a lot, so we'll see.
Yeah.
It is a different
There's
way
also
of
Aaron
working.
Francis is solo.
Yes, yeah. There's Solo as well.
Have you looked into that as well?
To try that, I'm waiting to see if he takes the $5 million investment, and then then maybe I'll get into it. But yeah, that's
I think
really,
that
really solid too.
Yeah, and actually, I think I've been definitely obviously Claude, Opus 4.6, extended, like whatever. This basically have everything throttled up to the max, but I am surprised at how I would definitely push you into doing a little bit more codex stuff, because I'm really surprised at how well it architects things. And it took a iOS app that I thought Claude was doing a relatively good job on. It's like you're trying to use your spidey sense to kind of work through these things, and like, is it really doing it? It's like it's kind of creating it, but it evaluated the code and completely rewrote it, and it's way more stable, way more performant. Like memory usage is down. It's kind of wild. Like
I keep
I'm
hearing
trying to
really
figure out how to
great-
blend those a little bit more, like into a more unified workflow where it's like I can ping pong between Claude, have Codex evaluate it, then like throw the Codex output to Claude. And there doesn't seem that still seems to be like a lot of friction right now.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that both Superset and Conductor, you can use them with Claude Code, you can use them with Codex, you can use them with any other thing. So that is nice. I do keep hearing really strong reviews of just Codex as a coding model more and more. I did try their new Codex app a little bit, which is, it's nice. It's a similar layout to this. It's similar layout to Google's anti-gravity, but you know, the thing with like anti-gravity and Codex is that you're basically, from what I understand, you're sort of like locked into their models. I'm not totally correct about that. I don't know, but I like having these like other independent apps where we can jump between them.
I mean, this is the other thing now is that the combining of models. You know, I've used it with Aaron Francis's counselors thing, but there's other things like it where you can get them to compete. You give them a task and then you get them to go out and fight it out. That's interesting. And then you get to see, you know, which models come up with something different than what, you know, the other. I just have it connected to Gemini, Codex, and Claude. The funny thing is
with building. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to say, a lot of us have access to these models because, like, if you have a Google Workspace account, you have some level of access to Gemini already out of the box. And then I have a ChatGPT account for my family, so you have some level of access. So you can try these things out without actually fully committing to a max plan on everything.
Yeah, I have the max plan on Claude and the $20 a month plan on Google and ChatGPT. So for the few tasks that I do go to Gemini when I need an image generated, you know. If I ever need any sort of image, I'm going to use Gemini for that.
Yeah.
I do still use ChatGPT for life stuff, but I have moved all of my work stuff like out of ChatGPT, and that's all in the Claude ecosystem at this point. I know that a lot of people do this type of stuff where it's like you're playing the coding agents off of each other and you're getting their opinions and having one review the other, or either that or you're jumping around a lot between just building a lot of stuff, and like sometimes you're using Claude models, sometimes you're using OpenAI models, and then you can really get a feel for like what they're good at, what they're weaker or stronger at. I guess there's some value to that, but in practice for me, this gets into one of my other questions, which is like, which AI provider are we most loyal to, if you will? But like in my building process, like I've just become so comfortable with how Claude Opus collaborates with me and builds with me that it's like, to me, it's like, I just don't want to spend extra cycles of having it build something and then giving it to another agent and having it review and tear it apart, and maybe I need to rebuild parts of it. I'd rather have it build something and I can review it and finish out the design, or then I can decide that like something was fundamentally misarchitected, and that's mostly on me. Like I gave it the wrong direction. Okay, you might find a few optimizations in the code base that could be coded a certain different way, but like to me, it's much more about design, and I mean like not even the look and feel, but the design of the product. How does it work from a user experience standpoint? Like, and all of that happens during the planning phase either. So all of these models, all the frontier models, are super good at getting you there. It's more of a question of comfort, I guess, you know.
Yeah, when you're working on a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. No, I was just wondering, when you're working on a plan, are you creating one unified Markdown file, or are you actually breaking that out into like feature specific plans? Because I've actually started to actually fan it out a little bit more, so that way each of the individual features can be a little bit more robust and like detailed at what there is, as opposed to like having it try to consolidate it, because I feel like it creates gaps when it tries to do that. And then I try to fill it in, and then it tries to like and sometimes it synthesizes it to a point to where you're trying to refine it, but then it loses a detail somewhere else. And actually, so I'm trying to fan it out to like 20 or 30 spec files.
Yeah. So what I do is I usually do a big pre-product planning phase. And that sort of generates like a big PRD, but that's not going to be the plan or spec that it builds off of. That's just to guide the roadmap of the project. And then I'm going to break that out into milestones. Usually not 30. It depends on the tool, or it depends on what I'm building.
Yeah.
But like the one that I'm working on right now is this thing called Spark Drop, which ended up being broken out into like 8 milestones. And for this one, it was the first time that I actually used a Ralph loop to build most of these milestones. So there's like multiple phases of planning before it ultimately builds. So it goes for me, it goes like ideation and conception into a big like product scope plan,
kind of
road mapping sort of thing, product vision sort of thing. And then out of that, I'll turn that into milestones. And then each milestone is then broken out into like user stories that get fed in. This is if I'm doing a Ralph loop, I would like put all these user stories into a Ralph loop, and that can sometimes build like 1 milestone. Occasionally I had it build like 3 or 4 milestones at a time, and it did pretty good with that. When that's all finished, I'm still going to hack on additional features or refinements or fixes. And that's mostly just like prompting. Maybe occasionally, if it's more complex, I'll do, if I'm doing like a big refactor of something, I'll go into plan mode for that and create and then have it build off of that.
But you're doing all this within the context of code? I'm kind of curious. Are you doing that in the context of code, or are you doing it in chats?
The early planning stuff is mostly happening in chats, like in Claude, just
Claude.ai.
Yeah. But then once I know what I'm building and I know what the vision is and I know what the roadmap is, that's when I move into code, and that's when I turn it. But I'm not actually coding yet. I'm still going to turn it into like specs. I think there's a difference between putting your product manager hat on or product designer hat on. That's like the vision stuff. And the user experience, like what am I trying to build for users? That's first. And then it's like technical implementation. So how do I turn that product vision document into a technical implementation plan? That happens in Claude Code. And that might have multiple levels where it's broken into multiple milestones. And then the milestones go into Claude Code's plan mode. And the only reason I do that is so that Claude can really like follow its own plan, so that that's how it really like sticks to it and completes it.
Yeah. So it doesn't create the gaps and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's like a lot of different styles of building for different use cases. Like lately I've been really into building these like internal tools, right? And if it's an internal tool, I'm actually more likely to try to build it as using like a Ralph loop. Because it's usually smaller, more focused, and I can get like maybe 80% of the product built that way, and then I work on the final 20%. Anyway, that's a whole tangent we can get in.
I do think it's interesting. This is in the age of AI. This is something to consider, which is everything is moving so fast. Everyone's coming up with new products, new models. Now OpenAI is really going after Anthropic's market with developers and businesses. So humans just do get stuck in certain workflows and certain apps. Like why, like you said, like why do I use iTerm instead of just using the terminal inside of Visual Studio Code? And I'm like, I don't know. I just prefer it that way, but it's silly. But that's the way it is. We develop these preferences. And I mean, this is a big problem in podcasting. A lot of people who kind of grew up in the iPod era still use Apple Podcasts, but then millennials that came into podcasting through Spotify prefer Spotify. So we always end up preferring these things, and it's remarkably sticky.
Oh, yeah. And I think a big part of that, no matter what product we're talking about, is switching cost, right? Like I feel it this week when we're talking about these coding tools, like it is absolutely slowing me down to work in Conductor or Superset compared to me working in Cursor, because I've been using Cursor for years.
Yeah.
But these are totally new, so I have to learn new muscle memory. I have to learn where things are. It's all different. So that means I'm spending an extra 2 hours in my workday just reading their docs or reprogramming their keyboard shortcuts to my preferences. So I am slower, but it's like this week I was like, I'm gonna commit to slowing down for a week and reevaluating this tool that I only reevaluate every like 3 years, really. And yeah, it's like that is the thing. It's like everything is like I'm just like a lot of times it's like I know that there's a better tool out there. I know it. I know that exists.
Yeah.
I just don't want to spend the time switching to it.
Well, this is why maybe Nathan was saying here in chat that Codex just released a plugin for Claude Code, which is pretty smart, because if you're used to Claude Code and OpenAI wants you to like check it out, well, let's just go where the market is. Let's go where the users are,
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump
So do you think you're going to have a daily driver that comes out of this?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like a daily driver is evolving?
Yes. I spent all day yesterday in Conductor and most of today in Superset. I'm feeling pretty good about Superset right now because it's sort of, I'm getting used to it, and I'm going to give it a few more days. But I could also see Conductor coming back and like evolving a little bit more, and they just raised a bunch of money too, so that'll be interesting. So I don't know. But yeah, I would say that I am almost certain that it's going to be that I am off of Cursor now. Like I have still been firing it up just to like go grab some things that I know are just in there. But I think I'm actually moving on from Cursor at this point. Let's just jump around to a totally different category for a second.
Okay.
Switch it up. Here's something. All right. So here's one of those things. Let's talk about news and news sources and news reading apps.
Okay.
Because this is one of those things that I feel like I need a new daily driver, and I've been lazy or haven't found a good option. So I mean, I get news from lots of different sources and methods. But in terms of like reading the world news headlines every day, I'm doing that in Apple News on like using the Apple News app.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, to be honest. Like it's not great at that. There's nothing smart about it. They're just, what I do like about it is that it is a very mixed and unbiased mix of headlines from major, pretty, mostly trustworthy news outlets. I also like that I have a healthy mix of just like world news, like top stories in the world, plus like top stories in sports. I read a lot of sports updates, especially my teams. I like that that's mixed in there. I don't know, like it's just it's a quick scan. I mean, I'm actually usually reading it at night. I don't read news in the morning. I read it at night. I mean, there's like other podcasts and some YouTube stuff where I get some news, but that's like, if I want to know like what's happening in the world, I don't watch like TV news or anything like that. I'm going to read the headlines, which tend to come from like, like what do they have? Like Wall Street Journal in there, or some like CNBC, a little bit of New York Times, a little bit of everything, The
nice thing about it too is
like
that it if you're on Plus, it gives you access to most of those publications without having to pay again, which I found helpful. Often I'll like find a news article I want to read, and I'm like, you can either put the archive.ph in front of it, or you can go to Apple News and just search for the headline and find it, and then.
But it's not everything. I am on Plus, but it's not everything. Like it's not a full Wall Street Journal.
No, it's not a full. No.
Yeah, there's still some paywalls there. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still, so I have a reading area in my iPhone, and it's just like I've got news there. That's probably the one I use the most. There's some that read my Bluesky feed and bring up links, and that's called SIL. I like that one. There's another one called FeedSeer that I use, and then Reddit, and then sometimes I go to the New York Times directly. There's a new one by Flipboard called Surf.social, which is also looks interesting. I've been checking that out. I loved back in the day, wasn't Flipboard, it was, someone's going to remember it, but there was this app that would just surface all the interesting links from your Twitter feed. And I loved that app. And I've been kind of finding these little replacements. And this is another one of them.
I was using maybe about a year or two ago, and it was around for about a year, and then they shut it down. The creator of Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that called? Yeah.
Like, now we even forgot the name of it. Like, he just shut it down. Like, but it was great. It was really well done. It was a newsreader
Artifact.
It was called Artifact.
Yeah, Artifact.
And it was really smart at following, like, what are the articles that I actually click on and I read, and then it gives me more of that kind of stuff from all different sources.
Yeah.
It's such a bummer when they shut that down, and that's when I switched to Apple News, which does a really crappy job of the same idea, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what about you, Ryan? What do you use typically?
Yeah, it's a blend between Apple News and then obviously podcast and newsletters. But the problem is those things are all over the place.
Oh yeah,
the
Tangle.
thing
I'm a big
I
Tangle news guy. I don't know if you guys are aware of Tangle newsletter, but that one's awesome for like unbiased kind of two-sided news in the U.S. I'm a big fan of them.
Nice.
What
was the there's another news site that I tried, but it just didn't stick for me for a reason. Was it Semaphore?
Oh yeah,
the one that, like,
was cool.
I don't know if this is it. There's one that's like they have like ratings of like how biased each article is. There's like data ratings underneath like each article. I forgot what that is.
Yeah, they sponsor Channel 5 News. What is that Channel 5 News sponsor? Sorry, I interrupted you, Ryan. What are some other newsletters you're reading right now?
I mean, most of them are kind of like industry ones, but sorry, I got distracted by Semaphore. I was seeing if they had the the rating breakdown.
Yeah, I don't think that's the one.
I think it's ground.news.
Ground.news. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I tried reading that for a couple days, and like, I don't know, it just didn't really stick for me, but I love the concept of it, you know?
Yeah. It's hard to build a habit.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're all honest, I mean, maybe you guys, I'm on Reddit the most. By far. It's like
interesting. I don't go in Reddit as much as I would like, but by far I'm reading about sports. Like when I'm reading news, I catch the main headlines, but I'm so less interested in that stuff than I used to be, and now so much more interested in sports updates, especially my teams and the leagues that I like to follow, and tech news updates I like to follow, you know. I was listening to Jerry Seinfeld. He called into WFAN, which is the New York sports radio here, and he was talking about how sports is one of those, it's like a fish tank where it's completely isolated from the rest of the world and politics and all this craziness that's going on. But it's this whole like insulated world where it's like everyone is super, super invested and have all these like heated arguments and debates and competitions, and they're really like emotionally invested in all this stuff that doesn't matter at all in the grand scheme of things, you know. And it's like, and it has nothing to do with politics and red and blue and any of that nonsense. And it's so true, but it has, that to me has been such a breath of fresh air, and just like following all the little storylines and like right now, like one of the things that I'm really fascinated with is in like I follow the NBA a lot, and this idea of tanking. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this story at all?
No.
Okay, so if you haven't been following NBA basketball, there's a huge problem in the NBA, and that is 8 to 10 of the teams intentionally lose for almost half the season.
Oh, interesting.
To try to get draft picks. And it used to be like they might start to tank in the last 3 games, 5 games of the season if they might make a movement. Now you're starting to see teams do it from the All-Star break on, like halfway through the season and onward. Teams are intentionally losing, like they're benching their best players. They're just, because they're like, if we're the Utah Jazz, our only option for getting better, we're not New York or LA, so we can't afford the big names. Our only option is to just try to tank the season and get a good draft
them
pick
early.
Yeah.
And it's a massive problem. So there's all these different proposals for like different rule changes and how to penalize tanking and all these different incentive structures. It's actually a really fascinating and difficult problem. But it's and there's like business involved in it. It's so anyway, I've been like super invested in that whole ongoing saga.
I mean, people always make fun of folks that are into wrestling, but it's basically the same thing. It's just like a way to turn your brain off and be in a different. Yeah. Are you into any sports, Ryan?
Different storyline. I have 2 younger kids, 5 and 8, about to turn 6 and 9. So it's wow. I mean, my world is pretty much just them and trying to get some work done during the day. So I don't really follow too many sports, but I do like watching. I got into NBA playoffs last year. I was like really rooting for the Knicks and hoping they were gonna push through. And occasionally I watch a football game here and there, but. No. Well, I mean, I was in New York for about like 15 years. Actually, if there was a team, it'd probably be like more like the Pistons or the Cavs because I'm from Ohio. But yeah,
that's kind of the other fun thing about sports is that it is. I mean, talk about jobs to be done and product market fit. It's like, help me to turn my brain off of the real world so that I can just have a break.
Yes.
And for me, like watching, I'm a big Edmonton Oilers fan with NHL hockey, but why? I don't live there anymore. I haven't lived there in over, 15, 20 years. But it's the hometown team I grew up with. And even like the name, like I'm not super excited about the oil industry. But that's like the whole identity of the team is the Oilers, the area and, like they at the beginning of the game, a big oil tower comes down and then they skate through it.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
I love stuff like that.
But there's something about caring passionately about something that doesn't really matter is kind of this relief. And I think this is going to be a bigger and bigger thing in the age of AI. I'm seeing way more people talk about burnout, like even what I was saying, like you're on drugs and you're just like, I'm going to burn out. I'm burnt out by 11 a.m.,
Yep.
The dopamine machine.
Yeah. People are looking for some respite from the dopamine machine. And Respite from the Dopamine Machine. That's my new hardcore band.
Yeah. I love it. Should we do like one more quick one or wrap it up?
Let's do one more quick one.
All right. Should we do like a life or a work? What do you guys think?
I'm fine with whatever. I think, whatever you want.
Let's see. Let's go with what has like different products and stuff in it. How do you guys think about like vacation and travel? You want to do something like that?
Oh yeah, I would. That's a good one.
Because this encapsulates a lot of things. Like there's like airlines. There's like, do you like Airbnb versus hotels or VRBO? What types of vacations do you tend to prefer or go to? What are you most loyal to? Like again, we're thinking about like daily driver is probably the wrong word, but like what are your go-tos? If you're thinking, I want to take a summer vacation with my family, what are we thinking about? Like What's your tried and true?
You go ahead, Ryan. Do you got anything?
Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've kind of evolved into being like a Delta flyer over the years, and also it helps being in Atlanta, a pretty major Delta hub, with pretty much direct flights to anywhere you want to go. So, mostly Delta. I'd say I kind of err towards VRBO, but at the same time bounce between VRBO and Airbnb, just depending. I feel like some of the fees and stuff, or maybe, I don't know, it seems so weird. Like the fees are kind of like over the top on Airbnb right now. So actually, in a weird way, I've been reverting back to maybe hotels or like different types of things like that to have, if they have accommodations that kind of like work well for our family, and if we have guests or something that are joining us on the vacation. But yeah, that's kind of some of the stuff I've been using, and
It feels
some
like
of the the things I've been like teeter-tottering on as far as like which one to lean into more.
I'm seeing more and more people teeter-totter. Like
Yeah.
that feeling of Airbnb often sucks. And when I'm traveling by myself or with my wife, I want a hotel. Like hotels are way better than Airbnbs in so many ways. If I'm traveling with my family though, you typically need more space, you need, so it's like, we got to go with Airbnb or VRBO, but it feels like there's like still there's something about what's going on Airbnb that people are teetering on,
I would say we're still pretty loyal to it. Although, like we go between Airbnb or hotels and almost never use VRBO.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think for me, part of it, like if we go for an Airbnb when we're going to be there for multiple days, typically with kids. And sometimes we go on Airbnb, like there've been some trips where like Airbnb drives our vacation decision. Like, where can we find the coolest Airbnb to stay at? That's where we're going to fly to.
Yeah.
Like if we just want to be sort of like creative about like, we don't really know where we're going to go this next vacation. Let's just see if we can go like stay in like a teepee on a farm or a cave or some crazy place.
Yeah, that's cool
on
for the
Airbnb.
experiences, if you're trying to just like hunt for an excursion.
The other thing that I've found is that like I tend to trust the reviews on Airbnb, and we have stayed at VRBOs where it was like, it's some company that markets their property through VRBO, and then the company tries to screw me out of some payment, and like, because that's the thing on VRBO, it's like they connect to you, but then you're on your own.
Yeah.
Whereas like if they screw with you, like, and they're through Airbnb, like Airbnb will take care of it,
Yeah. Don't you guys think that, to me, travel, I've always struggled with like booking vacations, taking vacations, planning vacations. And I know like when I have a good trip, I'm like, okay, here's what made the trip good, and it depends on what stage of life your family's at. But like one summer, we made this last minute decision and went to this family camp that was like not even an hour away. And it was just like perfect. They had this big, beautiful pool. They had motorboats that would take you water skiing. They had mountain bikes you could rent. They had a basketball court. They had a big dining hall. It was just like everything about it, a zip line. And so there's all these things to do. The kids were at the perfect age. They were probably like, 12 and under. And it was just like perfect, But I find it very difficult. And this is somewhere I was hoping AI would solve my problems, is just like, I want you to, even in a recurring way, like I don't want to have to drive this all the time, but in the same way that I set like flight reminders on Google Flights. I don't know if you guys do this, just give me price emails all the time. So I get different destinations. It sends me emails. I want something that's just like emailing me all the time going, hey, you haven't booked anything for spring break. Do you want to do that? You haven't booked any, like summer's coming up and
It's coming up.
Yeah. Like, and also
I don't do the,
knows me. Like it feels like booking a good trip is like one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. I have been using ChatGPT more in the vacation planning stuff.
Okay.
So like we just booked a quick trip for spring break down to Florida. We got a place on the beach on the west coast of Florida. But for that trip, we were like up in the air. We're like basically both Amy and I started on ChatGPT, and we started saying like, we know that we want to be on a beach. It's got to be just for a couple of days, flyable from Connecticut. We want a direct flight somewhere. And we started looking at like potential, like maybe like Grand Cayman or like one of these Caribbean islands. We looked at like different places in Florida. We've been to Florida lots of times. Like, what's going to be nice? What's like, can we get something nice on the beach? Does it work with our budget? So yeah, we ended up settling for this spot on the beach. But like, yeah, like I like to use ChatGPT to first just start high level. Like, give me a bunch of destination ideas with this criteria.
Why ChatGPT and not Claude or Gemini or anything else?
One of those like comfort, or in my mind, I now have it where it's like ChatGPT is for life, Claude is for work.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's just what I do. Like I use ChatGPT for life shit. And so whether it's like vacations or like I got this weird shoulder pain, what do I do about it? Or like a replacement for random Google searches, or I need a fun joke or story to play with my kids. That's ChatGPT. But similar searches, like what's a good tool for this thing in my work? I'm going to go to Claude for that. What's a project that I'm working on in my business, or business strategy? I'm using Claude for that. You know,
are you doing something similar, Ryan?
You know, I think this is actually a pretty underserved. One thing that I think is actually kind of underserved is right now AI feels like a very solo experience. And I think eventually there's going to be this collaborative AI thing, so that where you and your wife can be sitting there jamming on stuff, and you can see the responses that she's getting, and you could be upvoting that or something, and then that's feeding into like kind of creating this thing.
Totally. That's like sort of a new development. Like just now on this vacation planning stuff, and we're also planning our summer vacation now too. And she's much further behind me on like tech adoption kind of stuff, obviously, right? But like I just share, like I made that ChatGPT conversation shareable, and I shared it to her, and she started looking at it and doing her own searches. But yeah, like definitely that like multiplayer AI kind of experience is.
Yeah, I think even amongst teams, I think that's going to be huge. And then Justin, to your point about how you like interfacing with ChatGPT via Slack, to be able to like have like working rooms where you can kind of be jamming, and either people have their own agents that they're working against, and everyone's seeing the output and then like snagging stuff. I think there's some stuff there too that it's going to be interesting to see what evolves.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I haven't thought about that, but like the co-driving model is especially with something like travel planning. Like it just makes so much sense to say, okay, we're both in here, but I might say, well, I want to do kind of this kind of stuff, and my wife might be like, well, that's fine, but I want to make sure that we have these kind of things.
There's some amenities.
That's the whole job to be done, right? Like we always have these. We really center like our trips around like we just want one. We got to make sure we have this one thing in the trip, and everything else sort of clicks into place. Like this next one is like we want to be on the beach, right?
Yeah.
Summer we're gonna probably go to Glacier National Park and then drive up into Canada and go to Banff.
Nice.
Like that. So like we have these like models of vacations that we continuously come back to. So summer trips we've done a lot of national parks, and we just like center the destination choice around national parks, usually like fly somewhere and then drive and do some Airbnbs around those areas, do a lot of hiking and seeing stuff with the kids. Sometimes it's like a quick beach vacation. Sometimes it's like more of like a city or exploration, usually just me and Amy. So
this is the other thing I think is missing though from all of these, because I've tried some of these AI trip planning tools, and I think everybody's still stuck too much in this mindset of like, here's a single chat, single prompt, like you want to go to Banff, I'll recommend you, like what days are you going? Okay, I'll recommend you an itinerary every day. It's like, no. What I want you to do is I want you to first develop some sort of codex knowledge about me. Like, I want you to understand what I like, what my wife likes, what my kids like, and at this stage of life, right? So, like, now all of our kids are older. They don't want to travel with us. And so, like, we've thought about doing trips where we will fly somewhere and then our kids will fly and meet us there. Okay, well, that's interesting. Like, that's a new development.
Well, I think that the main apps do that now. Like ChatGPT knows about me, knows I have kids of this age, and like,
that part is interesting. I think the other part that's still missing is this proactive, like you can set recurring tasks and you can prompt it, but those still feel very much like manual things I have to implement. I want in certain cases, not all the time, but in certain cases, I want it to be proactively reaching out to me. I want it to be prompting
you
me.
want like smart alerts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously.
Contextually smart alerts.
Yeah, you haven't done this sort of thing in a while. Isn't it time to plan the next thing?
Yeah, exactly. And even just like, hey, like, I don't have your kid's school calendar yet. Can you add that to, my memory? I still think there's too much like self-driving with these LLM tools, and there needs to be a mode where I can turn it on and say, okay, in this particular area, I want you to prompt me way more. I want you to be like, hey, I don't have this information. Hey, I don't have this information. Hey, if you give me access to your calendar, I can help with a lot of your planning. Hey,
I mean, that's the vision, right? Like, and that's the thing with agents. And I don't know how comfortable I am or we are as a society with like just giving over everything, our personal accounts and stuff like that, to have it like, but that's sort of what, like, I feel like the models and the technology are capable of that sort of thing today.
Mm-hmm.
It's more a question of adoption and willingness to, so first of all, like, are we willing to just give over our personal email and calendar to a ChatGPT or to an OpenClaw or to a Claude? Some people, yes, some people no. But then but then I would say like the tool companies, the product, those companies are they've been trying to push these like agentic tools, but they haven't quite hit the mainstream because I think the mainstream hasn't quite had the demand for them in the big way, I mean, like that's the thing for me with agents is that like the ChatGPT has been trying to do this for years now. It's like, get me to have ChatGPT choose restaurants and choose hotels and choose flights for me and book them for me.
Yeah.
But I've actually tried that a couple times just to see if it could do it.
Yeah.
And first of all, it can't. Like it just finds stuff that's not actually available or that I'm just not interested in.
Yeah.
But second of all, like for me, at least at this point, I like the balance of like having a little bit of control, but also offloading more of the research legwork. Like for these vacations, I like to have ChatGPT like, all right, high level, give me a lay of the land, give me some good destinations and maybe a few sites that we might want to see. But then I'm going to want to pick my own hotel and look at the actual photos and,
Yeah. I mean, this is what feels like missing though, is for every tool, what I really want is a proactive, smart notification or prompt. I want to still book my flight. Like, I'm not going to, I don't need it to do that part. And Ryan was saying, we often develop a allegiance to a certain airline. We have points. We have things we want to do there. So, and picking flights is like such in the weeds
don't
thing.
Screw me.
Like, I got to get in there. It's like, I don't want your agent going, oh, you'll like this seat. It's like, no.
You can handle a 4 a.m. flight. Sure.
But
10-hour layover.
15-hour layover. It's like, oh, thanks, Claude. And my wife's just looking at me like, I told you we shouldn't use AI for this.
That's the vacation disaster right there. It's
but
like
smart
dragging
prompts,
the kids through an airport.
Smart prompts this is what, again, this is a recurring theme. what do I want a really good employee to do? I want them to bring to my attention something that I need to be reminded of, something that I need to be aware of, something that I haven't thought of, whatever. That's a good employee. That's what I want these agents to be doing. I want them to be prompting me and going, listen, dude, I know you're busy. I know you get super in the weeds and you're not thinking about the rest of life. Here's an idea. Maybe you should book a trip for this time of year. It's good for all these reasons. It's the shoulder season in Vernon. You know, there's not much happening in your hometown. This is the time to go, dude. Like, here's some opportunities, and list it out.
So you
for
want
me.
like an AI life coach or life, yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
It feels like that's, especially for something like Claude or ChatGPT that already knows so much about me. It feels like that.
I do use them.
That's
I mean,
the next
this
step.
is more on the work side, but I really use it a lot as a I don't know if you call it a coach or a therapist or just a thought partner or just a sounding board.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's almost every medium-sized or big decision that I make, I think about it and then I voice note it into Claude, and we have a back and forth about it to just clarify. And it's like I'm aware of the issues with it's just going to agree and support most of what I say.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll actively just be like, just push back on this, like poke holes in my logic. These are my unknown. These are the questions on my mind. But like, it's still, even knowing that, it's still more helpful in clarifying than just thinking about it and not having that like service available to me. You know?
Well, sometimes even the process of just saying it out loud helps solidify it in your head. It's kind of like when you go to someone with a question and then all of a sudden you answer the question like as you're asking the question, just like to get it out and then have that kind of sounding board, the whole rubber ducky thing. Actually, on that topic, do you use any sort of like voice transcription stuff? Do you use like a whisper flow or anything like that when you're interfacing? Or
yeah, at the computer I use Whisperflow for almost everything.
I've just started using Whisperflow. It's taken a little while to get the habit to remind myself to use it, but I have been using it more often.
Yeah, I use it a lot. I love it.
Mobile, I was just curious if that was like a daily driver.
I just use the iPhone voice memos app a lot, and it has built-in transcription. So what I end up doing a lot, and Claude's thing actually kind of sucks for this, at least right now. If you try to voice note into Claude, you can do it, but like not for more than like a minute or two. You know, so a lot of times I do a daily walk almost every day, and I'll speak for 10, 20 minutes on a topic. And let's say it's like one of these like sort of business strategy, like journal stuff. I can do that whole walk, and 20 seconds later, it's all transcribed. I can copy the transcription, paste it into Claude, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't trust like if I'm on a walk and I need to record a lot, I'm just using voice memos and then I'll upload that for transcription. Because a lot of these tools, I was using AI Pen for a while. Is that right? That was like an indie app that had been around for a while for this kind of stuff. And I'll still use it every once in a while, but every once in a while it'll like mess up, you know, and not even Whisperflow sometimes.
Just garble up.
If it's too long.
Yeah, and I haven't taken the time to like really program Whisperflow. I know you can like put your whole like vocabulary and all these like unusual brand names or phrases that you might say. Like there's still a lot of stuff that I have to correct after, you know, because it adds a space where there shouldn't be a space or whatever it might be. But yeah, especially for prompting AI, like in Claude Code, I use Whisperflow all the time. Yeah.
The only other thing as we're winding down here, the only one thing I wanted to just say quick was that idea that Ryan had about this dual mode. Because Brian, you were just saying it tends to agree with you, right? ChatGPT and Claude tends to agree with you. This is why Ryan's idea of having like this dual mode. Like if my wife brought her ChatGPT and I bring my ChatGPT, and now they have to
it's a marriage counselor.
That would be very interesting. And even
and you're seeing it side by side work.
Yeah, but then they have to negotiate between themselves. In some ways, like Aaron's counselors thing does, right? So in that case, it's all still my models. But I think for the AI companies, this, I don't know what you would call this, co-pilot mode. If you have if all of a sudden the LLMs have to negotiate between two people's memories.
Have your agents call my agents.
Yeah, but then they can't agree the same way they would normally agree. That I think is fascinating. I think that would I think it would help AI companies actually train their models better. But it would also just expose how agreeable your particular LLM has been, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. You actually see some of these people's responses that they screenshot out of Claude, and they must talk to their Claude in a totally different way than I do, because it's a completely different personality. And I think that actually plays into it. Like, I'm pretty polite. I say please and thank you and that kind of stuff, even though I know I'm blowing the tokens. But I see some other ones where the responses are like, wow, you must say some I don't know, just kind of
that you see on social media or
some hardcore stuff to your Claude if you're getting those responses,
Yeah, it's I don't know if some of it is made up or what kind of crazy stuff that they're just trying to get a crazy reaction out of it. But yeah, I never see. I have seen that's part of why I migrated from ChatGPT to Claude for any kind of work, because I used to use ChatGPT for the business strategy stuff, and I just found it way over the top, way too sycophancy, just agreeable, to a fault, where obviously to a fault, but it's not helpful. Yeah. And I've noticed there's still some of that with Claude, but it also just has this different vibe to it, where it's just trying to be constructive, and it does naturally let me push back on these things, or maybe help you reframe these a little bit differently, where rather than just being yes,
I mean, there's also some stuff that they're just bad at, that anything novel, I just find. I asked it to give, because Claude has lots of information about me and my business, and I asked it to give me a new novel marketing idea for Transistor that I'd never thought up before. And we went a couple rounds, and I'm like, these are the dumbest ideas ever. Yeah. They're just dumb. If you bring it a novel idea, it can help you execute on it, but the ideas it came up with, I was like, these are so dumb. And I'm like, no, I want an idea that will actually move the needle, that will make us more money. Give me an idea like that. And then it comes back with just something so dumb. I'm like, okay, but if it reminded me to book a vacation, I'm in.
I don't know. and if that chat was sponsored by Airbnb.
Yeah.
By a cruise.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Should we wrap it?
I think we should wrap. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. So nice to have Ryan with us. First time we've had,
thanks for having me.
I think someone from the chat. So this might be something we'll do in the future. If you're in the chat and you want to be, or you're a listener, if you're listening right now and you want to be on a future episode, let us know. We might have you on last minute, 10 minutes before we go live.
That's right. Good.
That was 7 minutes, and I was like, sure.
And I'll put all of the links to what we talked about in the show notes today. But yeah, thanks for being with us, everybody.
All right. Later, folks.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great one. Later.